I'm here.
A very good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you, and welcome to Sports Extra on Aspheric TV, where we give you the latest gist on the happenings in and around the world of sports. With me today is a very prestigious guest, Mr. Finest Ojegbe. Mr. Finest is a sport enthusiast and lover of the game of football. He's going to be giving us his opinion on the recent events in the world of European football. Stay with us as we give you the news headlines. Man City booked their place in the finals. After a convincing win over PSG on Tuesday night, Manchester City secured the first spot in the Champions League final. This is a crucial achievement as Pep ends a 10-year drought with the English side. Foden leaves Mbappe and Haaland behind. Man City's Phil Foden goes through to the final as Mbappe and Haaland are left to nurse their wounds. Out of the three young talents who are outstanding in the Champions League, Foden is the only one to make it to the finals as he helps the English side to a well-deserved victory. It's Chelsea versus Manchester City. Chelsea are set for an all-English Champions League final against Manchester City as goals from Timo Werner and Mason Mount beat Real Madrid 2-0 last night to seal a 3-1 aggregate victory at Stamford Bridge. Zidane's gamble backfires as Madrid run out of luck. Real Madrid get knocked out of the Champions League after Zidane's tactical decisions failed to get the team to another final. Zinedine Zidane bet on a 3-5-2 formation with Vinicius as a right wing back, Eden Hazard up front alongside Karim Benzema and Sergio Ramos in defense. Tuchel makes history as Chelsea reach UCL final. Thomas Tuchel reaches his second consecutive Champions League final with two different clubs. The Chelsea coach who reached the finals last season with PSG has done it again, this time in an all-English final. Ramos and Hazard did not deserve to play in the second leg. After being in the starting lineup, Hazard and Ramos failed to return the confidence shown by Real Madrid head coach Zinedine Zidane, as Real Madrid got outclassed by Chelsea. Arsene Wenger predicts Arsenal's semi-final clash with Villarreal at Emirates. Former Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger has backed his old club to beat Spanish side Villarreal and reach the Europa League final. Wenger said that the Gunners have the offensive potential to beat the Spanish side and upturn their deficit against Unai Emery's side. Emery charges Chukwueze and others against Arsenal. Villarreal manager Unai Emery said Samuel Chukwueze and his Villarreal teammates must be at their best to progress past his former charges Arsenal and secure the spot in the finals of the Europa League. Manchester United on cruise control against Roma. Following a comfortable 6-2 victory at home in the first leg of the UL semi-final, Man United go into the second leg without any pressure. The Red Devils showed their class by defeating a weak Roma side and seek to continue the fine run of form into the finals. Arsenal tried to overturn 2-1 deficit against Villarreal. The Gunners pulled the short end of the stick in the first leg as they lost to a better Villarreal side. Arsenal manager Arteta is however hopeful that the tides will be in their favour in the second leg tonight. Federations dissolve pointer Nigeria not ready for Olympics, Dalong. Former Minister of Youth and Sports Development Solomon Dalong says the decision of his successor Sunday Dare to dissolve the boards of sports federations shows the country is not prepared for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, which starts July 23. NPFL clubs in race to meet CAF deadline. The league management company faces a race to end the 2020-21 Nigeria Professional Football League in order to be able to present representatives for continental club competitions for the 2021-22 season. Arsenal keen on Onuachu. KRC gang striker Paul Onuachu is reportedly on the radar of English Premier League side Arsenal. The 26-year-old has had a splendid season in the Jupiler Pro League with 26 league goals for the Dysmorphin in 37 games. Team Nigeria's US trip under threat due to lack of fund. Unless a miracle happens, Team Nigeria's trip to the United States of America for Tokyo 2020 Olympics relay qualifying event may not happen today due to lack of fund. Pinnick leads African football's billion-dollar infrastructural lifeline drive. President of Nigeria Football Federation and member of the CAF Emergency Committee, Amaju Melvin Pinnick, was a pivot of a crucial meeting in the Ivorian capital, Abidjan, on Tuesday as the Confederation of African Football, CAF, set into action the push for a $1 billion lifeline for wholesale revamp of football infrastructure on the continent. Welcome back to Sports Extra on Spheric TV. And our guest will be joining us shortly. Um, Mr. Finest, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can hear you.
Mr. Finest, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good. So, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions regarding the Champions League matches that took place during the week and the European League matches that are going to happen tonight, and
Okay,
and a couple more questions. So I just hope you're ready for the questions because it's probably going to be
I'm
a heated
ready.
argument. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Good. Okay. So stay with us as we go on a short break.
Yeah.
If you know. Welcome back to Sports Extra on Spheric TV. Mr. Finest, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
So I'm sure you watched the match between Real Madrid and Chelsea last night.
I did very well. I did.
So what do you think about the game?
Well, as a Manchester United fan, I think I was very much disappointed because there was a part of me that expected Chelsea to lose. I
Yes.
thought Real Madrid will do the job for us, and the whole country, the whole world, everybody wanted Chelsea to lose yesterday. We didn't expect what we saw because we believed the Real Madrid should be a better side because Real Madrid, it is Real Madrid, the Galacticos. They are Real
Yeah.
Madrid. They are built for Champions League. So, yesterday it was a very poor showing. I was very much disappointed. But then
Was very
again,
disappointed.
you can't take it away from the Chelsea side.
No,
Chelsea they're very much coordinated. In fact, they are such a scary side right now that I fear for any team they meet in that UCL. In fact, if I'm being honest, I'm tipping them to win the UCL. I don't think Manchester City can take on them. They already knocked Manchester City out of the FA Cup, and I think they'll do it again in the UCL. I was disappointed yesterday. I thought I expected more from Real Madrid. Vinicius was all over the place. He was not contributing at all. Benzema just, in fact, the whole team broke down. The whole team broke down. I expected more from Vinicius, but it was a very wrong choice for Zidane to play Vinicius on the right. Vinicius doesn't go from the right. So when I saw
Vinicius
when,
was
when I
very
saw him go from the right, I was surprised. Like Vinicius is a left, is a left winger. He doesn't come from the right. Every game I've seen him play in the La Liga, he comes from the left. So why play him on the right? Why switch it up like that?
you
And
know, you
again,
know, can you give me a minute?
he,
You
he
know, I
wasn't
I
he,
think he
was, he
put
wasn't present. He wasn't there.
can you hear me?
I can hear
Can
you.
you Yes, I said I think Zidane put Vinicius on the right to cover for the wing back issues that they're having. And that was a very poor decision actually because
Poor
Vinicius
choice.
has no defensive awareness, first of all, and
Nah,
secondly, Vinicius is not a right winger, so it was a
he's not.
fail on both ends. So you should have just put him on the left and probably have Odriazola play his right wing, and and hope
Or
for the
even
best.
Rodrigo. The other choices, they had Rodrigo on the bench.
Rodrigo is
I
fine.
mean, on,
Yes,
on the
Rodrigo
team.
is right wing fine.
They had Asensio. You know, these are boys that can come in and do the job. I
You know,
don't
I
get
took
why Zidane. It was a poor choice from Zidane yesterday. I expected better from Zidane. It was a
I
poor
really
choice.
cannot I really cannot say what came over Zidane for the tactical decisions he made because
Yeah, very poor
sincerely
tactical choice.
I was sincerely disappointed as a Madrid fan that I
Yeah,
am, a Real Madrid fan. So you know
you know, and I
pain.
watched Madrid over the weekend against Osasuna, and
Yes,
they rested the likes of Cruz, they rested the likes of Luka Modric, with the intention of having them play their heart out yesterday. So they rested their
yes.
best players so that they could show up yesterday. And even with the rest, they still didn't show up. They were not there. They were on the
You know,
field, but they were not there. They were
that
missing. Just Chelsea controlled them.
that point you just made about um Cruz and Modric not being there. You know, there's this argument that people make about the old guard that Cruz, Modric, and are too old for this new generation of players. That they should let them rest and bring fresher blood to come and take over the midfield. So they call them the old guard, and it brought up fresh argument after last night's game that the old guards have disappointed again as expected. So what do you think about
Well,
is it
mm,
are they
it,
supposed to be replaced?
well, to be honest, I still think Cruz and Modric are two of the best midfield combinations in the world. You can't take it away
Gosh.
from them. Yes, I still think they're two of the best because, and I don't think it's about age because these players, yes, age is a factor as when you're a footballer, but these players they live a lifestyle that allows them to still show energy even when they are 33, 34. I know
Yes.
if in football, 13 and 34 might be old, but you should still be strong enough to do what you need to do. And they didn't look frail. They were not weak. They just didn't connect. They were just overshadowed by the likes of Kante and Jorginho, who are all over them. I don't think it's about age. It just
I
felt
think
like
it's
I just feel
Kante.
they didn't want it as much. Kante was all over them. Kante
Kante.
was there to play.
I just so you know I was wishing last night that Kante would just get an injury. I know that's a bad thing to wish on anyone, but you know, as a Madrid fan, he devastated the Madrid team, and I know how
He was over them. He was
I was
over
just
them.
regret. So so what do you think about Zidane's choice to play Sergio Ramos, who has not played for 7 weeks?
Well, when you're once a gladiator, you're always a gladiator. It is Sergio Ramos. In fact, I would play Sergio Ramos if I was the coach. You need to have Sergio Ramos in defense once he's fit to play. And I will assume that even though he hasn't been playing actively on the field for games, he has been training with them. He has had
Okay.
his fitness test that he has been training. So I think, and Sergio Ramos really, it wasn't the problem in the defense. He really wasn't a problem. He was a rock.
What would you say
The
was the
goal.
problem?
The problem for me yesterday was the connection between the midfield and the attackers. It was just off. The midfielders being Casemiro, Cruz, and Modric. They didn't marshal that midfield enough. They allowed Kante and Jorginho move over them. And Vinicius, the technical choice of putting Vinicius on the right, it didn't play out
Yes.
well. Vinicius didn't know what he was doing there. He was so out of place. Literally,
Lost
he was out of
confused.
place. Yeah, he
Yes.
was confused. So I think the problem yesterday for Real Madrid was the coaching, the technical decision the coach took. To play the formation system, the decision, the formation, Vinicius on the right. Allowing Cruz come back a little bit. He just it was off. It was off.
I actually thought Hazard would come on as a substitute. Actually, and but he decided to play Hazard first, then take him off later on when the match had already gone to waste. So I think.
Mm,
Do you
I
think that the pressure on Casemiro as the sole defensive midfielder is too much? Because Madrid seriously does not have a replacement or a substitute for Casemiro. What Madrid has
mm,
is uh, players who come from the academy and are still too young and inexperienced to fill his shoes.
The type of Odriozola, because I know they tried to play Odriozola defensively against Barcelona. If you watch their Clasico,
That was
Odriozola played defensive midfield, and it was actually quite impressive. He did his thing there. He marshaled Messi to the core. But I think Casemiro has been for a while now. In fact, it's been 2 seasons for now since Casemiro has been the sole man in that defensive midfield. For the past 2 seasons, I don't think I can remember anybody who has come out to claim to be a replacement for Casemiro in defensive midfield for Madrid. So I don't think he has so much pressure on him. Besides, Cruz, the likes of Cruz and midfield and what's it name, Modric, they hold that midfield down a lot. They hold the midfield down a lot. So I don't think there's too much pressure on Casemiro. If there was, it's Real Madrid. They have the resources to actually go out there and find themselves a replacement defensive midfielder for Casemiro. So it's not about pressure for me. But I think there was a little bit of fatigue on his side yesterday. It showed because Kante was too much for him. Kante was
so.
too much for him. In fact,
What do you think about Hazard now? Hazard has
Hazard.
failed. He has failed to live up to his name. He has failed to live up to the price on his head. He has failed
Okay,
to since his
you
arrival
know,
at Real, he has been riddled with injuries. Do you
you know,
think
it's like
what
this.
Hazard?
What I think Hazard should do now, is to reinvent his game, change his style, because that's what the likes of Messi and Ronaldo did. Because in, for about 2 seasons ago, when you call a Messi, you call a Ronaldo, you call Hazard among that name, in that
Yes.
category of stars. But what the likes of Messi and Ronaldo do is that for every season they change, they reinvent themselves. They find a new way to play the game to suit their aging process, because they're aging and they can't play the same style that they were playing as youngsters. And I think
Okay.
that's what's happened to Hazard. Hazard still want to play that style of running at defenders and taking on
Yeah.
defenders and trying to move around them. But age may no longer allow him to do that anymore. So he needs to reinvent
You should leave
himself,
that
change his
for
football
the likes
style, and
of
find a
Vinicius.
way for. Sorry,
I said you should leave the running around for the likes of Vinicius, who
he
are
should
still very young.
he should do that. He can't. I don't think the taking on defenders style should work for him. And frankly, seeing as how badly he has flopped in Madrid, I don't even think Madrid is the right thing for him. He needs, you know, I'm going to be
Yes.
honest. I prefer
For
Isco.
selling him now, what should be done? Because definitely Madrid cannot sell him at the same price which they bought him. Now,
No, he's no longer that worth.
so they will be at a loss definitely.
They have to be. They have to
Okay.
accept that and move on.
So, what do
I
you
think they should let him go.
what are your observations for tonight's games? I'm sure Manchester United is playing tonight, and Arsenal
Yes,
is
they are
also
playing.
playing.
We are playing tonight.
You
For tonight's game, let me start with the Manchester Roma game.
okay?
Um, I expect Man U to use today, not to play too hard. I'm expecting some players to get a chance to prove themselves today, because we're already 4 goals up. I don't see a Manchester United side
That's a huge gap.
bottling that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think they should play laid back, relax, 1 or 2 goals. Give some players like Van de Beek the chance to, really. And I
Van de
think
Beek
for
has
me,
really
this
been
should be Van de
showing in the
Beek's last
final.
chance.
Yes, yes, he has been
He's
showing.
been there. He has been given a lot of chances, and he hasn't proved it yet. So this should be his chance to prove himself. The likes of Bruno Fernandes doesn't really have to start today, not necessarily. Doesn't really have to
Yes, he should
start.
be at
I'll prefer we start the Van de Beek and watch him. Because Man U still have some tough games coming. We haven't played Liverpool yet. We still have Leicester. We still have Leicester to play. We still have Manchester City to play. We still have
okay.
Liverpool to play. So I would
So
like I would like to see a Man U side that is fluid, no rush, no pressure. Give some players the chance, hold the ball, and just enjoy the game.
Okay, so what about Arsenal now? They are two, one goal down.
Arsenal, Arsenal have a more difficult task ahead of them.
Yes.
They are two, they are one, they are fact, they are one go down away to Villarreal. So I expect them to do a little more work. I expect them to be hungry to play in that final. I expect them to do their best. And
Do you see Arsenal overcoming Villarreal? You know, Emery is a former coach of Arsenal and he knows most of their
yes,
tactics. So do you see them
yes.
overcoming
Well, I don't. I actually don't see that. I feel Villarreal will play quite defensively today. I don't. I don't see Arsenal going to Spain and overturning that victory. It's possible. It's possible. I don't see. I don't see it happening. I expect Villarreal to hold this down because in fact, this is a tournament that Villarreal excels at a lot. So I think they should hold it down and go ahead and qualify for that final. I don't see Arsenal overturning this. But it's Arsenal. They're still a top side, so we can't take anything away from them. But I still think, and I believe, and I may be a little bit biased in that because as I said, I'm a Manchester United fan, and maybe there's a little bit of bias in there, but I still think Villarreal should go forward. I prefer to meet Villarreal in the
okay
final.
for
And be
Villarreal to
more,
go?
yeah, I prefer to play Villarreal in the final than Arsenal. And Arsenal, they are tricky when they meet Manchester United. They're very tricky.
Okay, that's fair enough. Due to time constraints, we have come to the end of this edition of Sports Extra on Asperic TV. And thank you, Mr. Finance, for joining us today. And we do hope
Thank
that
you,
you will
Adrian,
join
for
us
having me.
later on when we invite you.
No problem. Thanks for having me, and I hope you invited more.
Well, that's a wrap today's edition of Sports Extra on Asperic TV. Do well to follow us on our social media platforms. They are appearing right now on your screen. And stay tuned and catch us next time on Sports Extra.